you definitely got a feeling of a moment in time. It wasn't like, oh my god, and it was the end, this city would never come back. You knew it was always going to come back. The lovely thing about doing what I do is I get out of bed and go somewhere where people are, and in a way, I don't have to be talking to them, but I'm just spending time in amongst a load of people like here, having coffee and stuff like that, and that's really lovely. You're more visible because there's less people there, and you meet more people. In a way, the people you meet, you're more likely to engage with, sort of thing. And that's kind of what my painting's about as well. It's just about, you know, everyday life sort of thing. And when that life is not there, it's really sad. So I felt like I had to paint it. But it's very weird because in a way you're painting nothing. You're painting what's not there, as opposed to what's there. And I found that very strange. My work's all about just masses of people and busyness, and I'm drawn to people doing things every day. And to see those sort of environments where that stuff not happening, it was just really weird and apocalyptic in a way. And as lockdown started relaxing, that was so lovely. And that was a moment almost more than the lockdown I wanted to capture, is people coming back. And that's why this place was so important to me, because it was cafes. You know, we could eat outside and all that, so everyone was sort of eating outside and doing that sort of stuff. And so this place, it just turned into a French place, really. You know, all the cafes, everything seemed to expand into the square, and it was really lovely. And people were gagging for it to get back and drink coffee and just do stuff. And it's so funny. It seems such a time ago now already, and already we're forgetting it. I'll go over to Bristol. There's a real energy to Bristol. So I was interested to see, you know, what would happen to it, and you know, what would happen to all those businesses and how they'd react. And I mean, it all came out in the cafes. So the cafe still kind of opened, and they just sort of attacked it very well and did takeouts and really attacked the issue. And there was still that energy there in Bristol, but it was being subdued and it was gagging to come back. There's a big tradition of plein air painting, and probably in a way, if we're honest, high art in this country, contemporary art, would slightly frown on plein air painting as something which happened really, it's been and gone. It was something, you know, turn of the last century, you know, over 100 years old perhaps. But I see it as contemporary in the fact that we're capturing contemporary life. I could take some snaps with my iPhone of empty streets, but for me, that's speaking as someone who's not a photographer, but for me, the process of painting and choosing and editing, and you know, I call it see and put, but there's something hopefully going on, which is your own personality, your own way of doing things. So it's a very personal record of that, and I think that's really important that people, you know, to be recorded personal records, you know, of that time. It was the day after the Queen died. I was walking the dog, and in the early morning on a Friday it was, and I was just really curious to see how people reacted. You know, and I knew that people would be pouring up to Buckingham Palace. I thought it'd be quite interesting to sort of see what it's like and go out there and paint. So I hopped in the van and went up. I probably got there about mid-morning in the end, and. Yeah, it was amazing. It was, yeah, obviously it was amazing. And then they'd closed off the Mall and all the streets around. I mean, it was amazing, well organised, we all know. And so the queue was classic. That was something that I kind of thought, oh, I've got to go and paint that. I kind of parked up on sort of the other side of Westminster, up by the Mall. I could sort of see people coming and sort of zoom in a bit. I mean, they're not portraits, but they're kind of like, you know, I did try and zoom in on people a bit when I saw them, they stood still. And then I got chatting to a guy, and he said, by the way, David Beckham's been spotted up there. And so he sort of features in, I mean, you could hardly see him. There's a sort of black line here, which just happens to be, I know it's David Beckham. But him aside, it's funny, there was some woman called Sandra next to me I was chatting to. And she worked all day and then went, I think at about 10 o'clock, so she must have done night shifts, joined the queue, queued for the night, and it was just remarkable to hear those stories and people doing that. And it was just really nice, perfect subject matter for me. You know, this sort of people kind of nearly standing still, but not quite.